What's up, guys? So we're all familiar with the many benefits of working for yourself in private practice, but there's also the likelihood of burnout, isolation, and deterioration of services without support from our peers. So I strongly recommend that all of us working in private practice are part of a peer consultation group. But how do you go about finding one? And even if you can find one, how do you know it's the right one? Well, in this video, I offer my top tips for finding a peer consultation group in private practice. What do y'all think of this lighting? I can't even look at it directly. I have these lights there. I feel like a fancy YouTuber. Welcome to Private Practice Skills. I'm Dr. Marie Fang, psychologist in private practice. I post videos offering tools I learned the hard way about starting and growing private practice so that you don't have to. When I first started in private practice in 2012, I worked in an independent group practice. So we all ran our own businesses, but we met weekly to discuss case consultations, to have trainings, and to offer emotional support to each other. When I finally launched into my fully solo private practice in 2016, I realized how incredibly invaluable those group meetings were. While I was working there, I never felt like I was working alone. There were therapists working with me, and also I always had that upcoming meeting to look forward to. In addition to that, I never got stale in my therapy practices because I was always hearing from really diverse perspectives, and it really kept me from simply recycling the same therapeutic strategies with my clients every week. If you have colleagues available that you can reach out to as needed, that's definitely a wonderful place to start. But I do encourage that all therapists in private practice join a more formal, structured peer consultation group. But I know from experience that finding a group is not always easy, and sometimes it's just downright scary. Here are some of the more common pain points that I've experienced when it comes to looking for a consultation group. Not knowing how to even go about finding other local therapists or consultation groups, not connecting well with other local therapists, or feeling dissatisfied with the consultation groups available, and believing that I didn't have the skills necessary to build my own consultation group if I wanted. Now, these are all really valid pain points, and chances are you might be experiencing some of them as well. I mean, I remember attending networking meetings and just feeling like the therapists here are not my tribe. And though there's value in welcoming diverse perspectives, and we need all of these different voices and personalities in our field, when it comes to finding the right consultation group, it's absolutely necessary that you find a group of therapists that you feel safe with. Because otherwise, you're not going to feel open enough to share, or if you do make the choice to share, you might be opening yourself up to getting hurt. So that leads us to my tips on how to find a consultation group. Number one, start with your networks. If you already know therapists who you trust in your area, start there. They may already know of a consultation group that you can visit, or you could possibly band together and create your own consultation group. Number two, meet other therapists. Now, if you don't already have a tribe of therapists that you can start out with, you're going to have to go find them. So get creative, put on your big girl pants, and get into some communities where you can meet some therapists. So whether it's joining a local chapter of your psychological association and going to some of their meet and greets and other events, or whether it's finding a local Facebook group of therapists or an email listserv of local therapists, or maybe it's even just sort of like cold messaging therapists that you find online through Google searches, Instagram, and directories like Psychology Today. Some of the people that I today refer to the most are people that I initially found by just cold contacting them online. A lot of therapists are not going to give you the time of day, but you might meet one or two people that way that you really connect with. As you dive into this step, I encourage you to try to meet as many therapists as you can. This isn't a situation where you try to land on the first consultation you can find and dive straight in, because it might not be the best fit for you. Now, if you live in a more rural area, or maybe there's just not as many therapists around where you live, then you can broaden your search to a larger geographical area, and it is an option to consult digitally. I do encourage you, though, to stick with therapists within your state so that you're all under the same jurisdiction, you follow the same ethical guidelines. Number three, once you've met several therapists in your area, evaluate for safety. Just because you found a group that's available, it doesn't mean that it's going to be a safe one for you to meet with. So make sure you feel safe with the other therapists in a consult group before agreeing to join one. One way that I assess for how safe I feel with a group is I ask myself, if I were to make a mistake in my practice, do I feel comfortable enough that I would disclose it to this group? And if I don't feel comfortable enough to disclose it to this group, then that means it's not a safe enough space for me to join. And number 4, it's always an option to create your own group. Yes, there's no special training required in order to start a peer consultation group. You can just start one yourself if you haven't found the kind that you're looking for. Now, I know this might sound really daunting and overwhelming. How do I find all these people and gather them together? So if that's where you're at, I encourage you to see if there's just one other therapist who you jive well with, who you can meet with regularly to start. Now, if you go this route, I suggest that you meet at least every other week, if not weekly. Find a confidential space, and in the first couple of meetings, sit down and talk about what it is that you expect from this group. If it's just you and one other person, it's pretty easy to sort of make sure you have a structure in place to meet the needs that both of you are after. Give this format a try for a little bit and then reevaluate after a few weeks. You can always tweak and make changes as needed. And from there, you already have a culture established between the two of you where you can decide together should you ever wish to invite others to join. And that's pretty much all there is to it. In addition to discussing difficult cases in peer consultation groups, I also encourage you to explore countertransference, ethical dilemmas, and any sense of isolation you might feel in private practice. And remember, if a group is not the right fit, you can always come back to these same tips to explore looking for another consultation group if needed. Well, I hope you found these tips helpful in finding a peer consultation group in private practice. If you're already part of a peer consultation group, leave a comment and let us know how you found it and any tips you would add to this list. And until next time, from one therapist to another, I wish you well. Today's video is brought to you by TherapyNotes.com. TherapyNotes helps with scheduling, notes, and billing so that you can spend more time with your clients and less time on back office paperwork. Click the link in the description of this video to get 2 months to try it for free with no commitment. I do feel like this lighting is pretty bright. All right, it might be different in the next video, we'll see. Sitting up straight it's hard. Oh dear.